Good afternoon. This morning, around 5:30 a.m., officers responded to a call for shots fired in the downtown area, specifically 2nd and near Commerce. As officers responded, they encountered an RV that had a recording saying that a potential bomb would detonate within 15 minutes. Officers, upon hearing that, decided to evacuate the buildings nearby. So they began knocking on doors, making announcements, having emergency communications, communicate with everyone to get people safe. Shortly after that, the RV exploded. We had one officer that was knocked to the ground. Another officer is fine. Going on now is we have K9 dogs, all of them out, partnering with Tennessee Highway Patrol, our federal partners, and we're sweeping the downtown area just as a precaution to make sure that everyone is safe and that any service that needed, we can provide that. And so with that said, we don't feel there's any concern in the downtown area of anything else right now, but we are doing it as a precaution just to search with our bomb dogs. At this time, I'll turn it over to Attorney John Cochran.
Good afternoon and Merry Christmas. Unfortunately, this is not the way any of us wanted to spend our Christmas morning, I know. But I'm Don Cochran. I'm the U.S. Attorney here in Nashville, Tennessee. This morning I briefed the Acting Attorney General, Jeff Rosen, on the situation here in Nashville. And he has told me to tell the police chief in Nashville that we are devoting the entire resources of the Department of Justice to help in their investigation. FBI and ATF are taking the lead in this investigation, and I want to turn the stage over first to Assistant Special Agent in Charge Matt Foster of the FBI, and then Special Agent in Charge Mickey French of the ATF to explain some of the resources that the federal government is going to bring to bear on this situation. Matt.
Thank you, Don. The FBI stands with the city of Nashville today in this very tragic Christmas Day event. This is our city too. We live here, we work here, and we're putting everything we have into finding who was responsible for what's happened here today. As part of doing that, there are investigative leads to be pursued. There's also technical work that needs to happen, and we're standing with Metro Nashville Police Department and our federal partners and our state partners to bring every resource we can possibly bring to bear to find out what happened here today and to bring those responsible to justice. The investigative leads, I'm sure you understand, it's not something that we can talk about. As we continue to pursue every tip, I would ask the public to go to www.fbi.gov/Nashville. www.fbi.gov/Nashville, where an online tip submission process has been set up. Please tell us what you know. We need your leads, we need your help. You can also call 1-800-CALL-FBI. Call in tip information if you know anything about what has happened here today. We'd appreciate your help. On the technical side, our focus will be on bringing the technical experts of the FBI from across the country, including the FBI laboratory, our hazardous devices school, and our experts from evidence response teams nationwide into Nashville to help process this massive crime scene, along with the ATF, Metro Nashville PD, and the many other partners who were part of this effort that will continue. We will find out what happened. That's all.
Good afternoon. My name is Mickey French. I'm the Special Agent in Charge for the ATF Nashville Field Division. ATF is continuing to be a critical partner with the Metro Nashville Police Department as well as our federal counterparts. ATF responded this morning with several groups and personnel from the Nashville Field Division. We've also activated our national response team. That particular team is made up of specialists as well, certified explosive specialists, chemists, engineers, as well as evidence recovery, interview teams, and so forth. We'll be coordinating that with Metro Nashville Police Department as well as the FBI, and we'll put together a team that is going to collectively work this investigation to the fullest. Our main priority is obviously to keep our Nashville citizens safe and secure, and we'll work jointly with everybody here to do that. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm going to give you just a quick update. I know Don earlier had mentioned as far as the fire department's role at EMS, we did transport 3 individuals with minor injuries, but right now what we're doing is with our structural engineers, along with our urban search and rescue, hazmat teams, we're going into the buildings, making sure, number one, that the building is sound and ensuring that there are no other victims or anyone that are there. So a lot of moving parts. Again, my hat goes off to all the teams working together as one unit, and we'll continue to work on until the job is done. So thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the update as we know it at present. If there is another briefing for this afternoon, we'll let you know. But you pretty much know what we know at this juncture as far as our community is concerned. Again, to reiterate, we know of no other imminent danger to the city at this point. The bomb dogs going through the downtown area now are doing that as a precaution. Okay? I can't hear you, Harriet.
Oh my gosh.
Of an RV. The biggest question now for
I believe that human remains have been discovered near the site of a bomb explosion in downtown Nashville, Tennessee. Federal investigators are still searching a crime scene that extends several city blocks from the streets to the rooftops. Reporter Daryl Forges now with the latest from Nashville.
law enforcement still has this area sealed off here in downtown Nashville, continuing their investigation into what happened with a bomb detonating inside of an RV. The biggest question now for the FBI, as well as for state and local law enforcement, is why. A haunting message warning people to evacuate. And the moment a massive fireball rocked downtown Nashville, caught on camera.
The early morning explosion was a deliberate bomb being set off in our community.
They heard an RV giving out a message, basically saying that it was going to detonate.
We believe it was a female voice from the video telling people to evacuate the area.
Damaging dozens of homes and businesses and turning popular tourist areas into a scene resembling a war zone.
I consider this a serious and intentional attack on American infrastructure, and I don't know anybody who would do that except a terrorist.
The blast right next to an AT&T transmission building, impacting 911 communications. The motive remains unknown, but some retired FBI agents say first responders may have been the target.
The person obviously did not want civilians injured.
The 911 call said there were shots fired. That tells me that they were trying to lure the police and first responders into the scene.
Police have released this photo of the RV involved, and the FBI has launched a website for tips in their search for clues.
The color of the smoke of the explosion is indicative of a certain type of explosive.
Well, you guys, I don't know, this thing is crazy. One of the main things I'm covering about this story is because, one, this was a bomb that went off on Christmas Day in Nashville, Tennessee. Now, I got a few family members that live out there in Nashville, so they had mentioned this to me, that, you know, this was the real deal, like, this had happened. So I was watching, you know, on Christmas Day, I was watching TikTok and, you know, just watching everybody unravel their presents or whatnot. And pretty much I seen like these buildings all destroyed, and it said like bomb went off in Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm like, what? But then, like, I didn't think it was real. I was like, that ain't real. It would have been all over the news. But then, sure enough, it was a real deal. So I called my uncle and I spoke to him, and he was telling me, like, yeah, that really happened. It was downtown in front of the AT&T store, in front of Hooters or whatever, and it destroyed a lot of buildings and stuff. And it was a big blast. So, I was just like, wow, like, this is crazy. So, things are just, it's just crazy, because you would think like 2020, we'd be aware of stuff like this, and then they're saying it's FEMA or whatever. I don't like to talk politics on my channel, and I don't like to talk about negative stuff like this, but man, this is something that needs to be noticed. A lot of people don't know what happened on Christmas Day, that a huge bomb had went off. Now, the facts supposedly of what the news and the police are telling us is that it was a RV like this one, and apparently it drove downtown somewhere in Nashville, Tennessee. And then once it got downtown somewhere, it was in an area where a lot of it was in an area where a lot of people didn't go down, apparently, or wasn't going down. See, now this is the thing with terrorist attacks. Apparently, like, I don't really know much about this stuff, so I don't really like talking about it. But apparently, with terrorist attacks, these terrorists, they want to draw people in and then blow stuff up. You know what I mean? But in this case, it was like the opposite. It was more like they wanted to let people know, like, hey, this is a bomb. It's going to explode. Leave the area now. So a lot of people were saying it was an attack on first responders. Now, first responders are the people who show up first to the scene of a crime, or to an active crime, or to a non-active crime, whatever. So apparently, the first responders show up and they see this RV that's out of place, and it's making these loud noises saying that it's going to explode, and what a police officer did, or police officers did, or whoever showed up, firefighters, police officers, was they evacuated the area. Now, this RV was just screaming like an ice cream truck, like with a loudspeaker saying that it was going to explode. And then it just did, When it exploded, yeah, apparently it killed about 4 people. There is human remains, but it's just weird how it all happened, because why would somebody do it? They don't know what the motive is, so to speak. They don't know, like, why this occurred, They just don't understand who would do something like this and why they would do it. It is kind of awkward, but like we would say, like, it's protesters or whatever and stuff like that, but at the same time, we don't want to believe that it's protesters, because this was an act of violence. And it was crazy though. Like, I don't know. And it does make you think about the Boston bombing, a little bit, the way it happened. Somebody in this case took an RV which is huge. Like, look at this RV that I'm driving. It's huge. You know what I mean? But then it's going off like an ice cream truck saying, hey, I got a bomb inside me. I got a bomb inside me. So people are like, I'm going to walk away. Like, this guy's crazy. And it's saying, like, will explode. Like, it's going to happen. It's going to go down. You know? And people are like, you know, screw this. I'm out. And it's 6 in the morning on Christmas Day. You know? So, this thing, what's up, Tyson? So this RV is parked in front of a AT&T store, right? And is basically, this RV is parked, they park it in front of an AT&T store on a block where it's pretty much dead. You know, there ain't nothing really going on. The van is yelling that it's gonna explode, so get away from it. You know, it does kind of sound like a terrorist group, or like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's the whole situation is kind of weird. But I just want to bring light to it and just talk to people about it, because I want people to be aware of what's going on. I want you guys to realize that this could happen in your city, anywhere. Nashville, Tennessee is a nice place. People love Nashville, Tennessee. People love going to Nashville, Tennessee. You know? But at the same time, like, look at this. Like, just picture this is downtown Nashville, Tennessee, right? And this is midday or 7 o'clock at night. You know? Like, and you got this big crusty old RV here just parked in front of, that's the bank, but let's just say this is the AT&T store, the building or something. And this whole block right here is all buildings and people living and stuff like that, right? And then you got a guy with an RV and he's got bombs on it, or in it. And you gotta think, this bomb that went off, this thing was huge. It was powerful. It took out like 20 buildings. But now, mind you, look, there's nobody around. Nobody's on the block, right? Nobody's on the block. It's got all these buildings around, everybody living around their life, nobody's on the block, and then, boom. Thing blows up. But did it happen like that exactly? No, that's not how it happened. These cops were on their way. They were on their way to a shots fired phone call that they got. I gotta get away. But these cops were on their way to a shots fired, first responders, you know? Alright, let's reenact this one more time. I'm just going based off of what I just heard, what I played in the beginning of the video. I don't really know the area too much. My uncle does. He's like, it was right by Hooters. It destroyed Hooters. I'm like, oh man, great. He's like, yeah, I get food there all the time. I'm like, I bet you do. But let's just say this thing was parked here, and this is the AT&T building right here. This whole block right here, right? Now this is the RV. We got one more bomb for y'all. Right there, boom, right? Now, the police, they get a call, shots fired, right? That's what they hear. They get a call, shots fired, and they decide they gotta respond. Okay, well, we're waiting for the cops to come. We're shooting off shots here. Oh, there they go. So look. Oh, what happened to the truck? Ba-boom. Damn. Once they showed up, once they were coming, supposedly, it was gonna get out there. I don't know, it's sad. I feel bad whether one person lost their life or 5 persons lost their lives. Like, it's still a sad story. It's still not a good look. Like, we gotta get it together, man. This can't be happening. You know, if anybody out there got any info, you know, y'all should find out what's going on, because bombs, man, dangerous. Look at that. Dangerous, I'm telling you. And this can happen anywhere in your city.
Suspect last seen on Eastbourne Way. Officers report a 415 on Eastbourne Way.